and CM Punk and Luke Gallows in the ring right now looking us.
Gotcha. Good stuff. Good stuff.
So, we're doing alright, right?
Yeah, alright. Definitely. I mean, like you said before, for having, this live show where you're trying to watch the show and trying to talk, and, we can't really run down everything we want to run down, but we got them live spoilers for them, so that's what's good.
We've got live spoilers. That's all that matters. Plus, you guys are getting a second after they happen. You know what I mean? Seconds after it goes down. You can't get faster than this. If you're listening right now, you can't get results faster than that. We've got a stare down.
You said what?
Wait 1 minute. Wait 1 minute.
Alrighty. Sounds good.
Okay, CM Punk just leveled Luke Gallows after the match and walked off. But CM Punk put down Luke Gallows. So I guess CM Punk's crew here is basically disbanding. You had Serena, who was fired last week. You had CM Punk take out Luke Gallows right there. And the only other one that's left is Joey Mercury, who is now injured, so I'm guessing they're going to do an injury angle, and CM Punk's entire group is disbanded. No more SBS, it looks like.
Damn, I seen that coming.
Yeah, well, you had Serena gone, and then Mercury came down with the injury at SummerSlam, so they've got to basically switch things up here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that group wasn't going nowhere. It was probably even worse than Legacy, man. It's probably the worst stable in the history of stables.
I guess so. All right, you guys are going to come with me as we go out the door. And we're going to go out and smoke a cigarette out here. We'll do a live radio show. We'll go smoke
a cigarette. That's what I'm talking about.
With nobody out here. So there's a couple people out here that's dead silent. So once again, these people are going to think, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
Like, this guy is just talking out loud, rambling on and shit.
This guy, and you know what? I lost my lighter at some point, so we have to walk up to somebody and borrow a lighter on live radio. Come with me. Come with me, buddy.
Yeah, we're borrowing a lighter, you said?
Oh, a lighter, buddy? Thanks, good.
Ryan Clark needs a lighter. Anybody in the chat room got a lighter for my man? It's not.
Alright. That's a live radio.
That's live radio for your ass. We just got a lighter, baby.
You got a lighter and lit up a cigarette on live radio. So, what can we talk about while I'm outside, man? We talked about Team 3D headed to WWE. What was any other backstage breaking news? I know Luna, we covered the Luna. Definitely want to save that for next week as well, man, because I want to get into that a little bit more. Hopefully we'll have more details at some point next week about that. The autopsy results on her aren't going to be out for about 6 to 8 weeks. That's usually how long they take, so it's going to be a little bit of time before we get those back for you guys. But the preliminary findings from the police report do not look good whatsoever, obviously, so. And what else, man? What else? Backstage?
What about the unification of the titles? I mean, I don't know if we're going to have enough time to really get into that, but, I don't know.
Well, I'm outside. We're missing SmackDown right now, so I don't really know what's cracking inside, but we'll find out when we go back in. But as far as the unification of all titles, I believe they're going to do it with all titles. The only difference with the Divas title, they announced last night on Raw, Divas and women's titles, they're gonna combine those at Night of Champions. But I would guess, as far as the WWE and World titles are concerned, I believe they're gonna hold that off until next year's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And you'll have a mega match between both champions at that time, and who that will be, oh God, who knows? I mean, it's next year's WrestleMania. They could obviously do it. They could do it before that, but it would make sense to build up a huge match, unification of the World and WWE titles for a major event like that. You know what I mean? All the other titles are going to be set. I would guess that the unified champion would appear on both shows on a weekly basis. You know.
Well, what do you think of the unification? I mean, good idea, bad idea?
I think it's a good idea. I hated the brand split to begin with. I hated separate shows going into Raw and SmackDown. I say, why not have all your talent? I know you've got a shitload of talent, and there's no, I mean, you just don't have enough time to feature all Raw and all SmackDown talents on one show in a 2-hour slot on a weekly basis, you know? So it made sense to do the brand split, but I don't like it because it doesn't. I mean, guys, I like to see guys that were over on SmackDown. I mean, Edge was over on SmackDown for the longest time. Chris Jericho was over on SmackDown. You know what I mean? These are guys that I would rather see on Raw, and I don't get to catch SmackDown on a weekly basis.
Well,
you know?
yeah, and you know, a lot of people don't like the two brands, but like you just said, you know, it definitely, you know, you got so many big names hunting for a world title. You know, how do you create new stars? So, I mean, pretty much. You see, you know, people, you got Jericho, Cena, Undertaker, Edge, Randy Orton, Mysterio, Triple H, you know, those guys would be getting world title opportunities, and some of your newer stars, you know what I mean, like CM Punk, or, you know, they're trying to build up Alberto Del Rio and The Miz and John Morrison, those guys, they continue just being mid-carding, you know what I mean, they'd never be getting anywhere. So, I don't know, I just...
With one champion?
Yeah, with one champion.
Well, that one champion, that's another thing. And who knows if they're actually going to go through with this. We know that they're going through with the Divas title, and we knew they just did it with the tag team titles. So they've got those out of the way. They'll have one of them, one's already out of the way. You'll have the Divas situation taken care of at Night of Champions. As far as the world title, I don't see... I mean, they're going to have to bring the title holders on both shows, and there's less storylines. If you combine the titles, there's less storylines, because on Raw you've got a storyline for the Divas title, or whatever. On SmackDown you've got the Divas title, and WWE you've got the Women's title. So you've got more storylines if you were to keep them separate. And now you're going to take all the divas and you're going to make them compete for one title. You know what I mean?
I don't have a problem with that.
well, how is that going to work, though? How is that going to work where if all the Raw divas are competing for that one title and the title is over on SmackDown, are the Raw divas, is the brand split going to completely end? And are we going to see talents from Raw over on SmackDown? Is it going to be... I think there's more to it. I just don't see a way that if you're going to combine all titles, your brand split has got to be over, because you need talents. You need all these talents to compete for the title, and you need them on both shows.
You know, with them, if let's say they do, you know, unite the world titles. You know, as much as I don't want to see that, because I think the brand split's good just because of how much talent they got. I think what you're going to see is people from Raw. Let's say the title's on SmackDown. I think what you'll see is people on Raw trying to become the number one contender to fight for the championship at the pay-per-view.
Listen, that basically means that the brand split ends, because if Raw guys are... I'm not saying that the brand split ends. You're going to have three separate brands. You're going to have Raw, you're going to have SmackDown, and NXT for at least the near future. You're going to have Raw and SmackDown. I'm saying... You would still have two separate shows, but Raw talent would go over to SmackDown, and it wouldn't be separate brands. It's basically what I'm saying. You would have Raw, and you would have SmackDown, but all talents, basically you're going to combine all your Raw talents, all your SmackDown talents, and you are going to put them on Raw and SmackDown. There's not going to be a separate SmackDown roster and a separate Raw roster. I just don't see a way you could do. I just don't see a way you could do that if you're going to combine the titles. If you're going to combine the titles, you've got to have everybody's going Raw. What are your main event Raw fans? What are those guys going to feud for themselves with no title? I mean, there's got to be a title involved. They've got to be going for some sort of world title, and how you do that is allow Raw talent on SmackDown, allow SmackDown talent on Raw. You know,
I think it's going to be either way. I can't see them doing this just because of how much talent they got. I think they pretty much got to keep these two brands, bro.
Basically, okay, so let's say that they combine the titles, okay? And John Cena is over on Raw, and he's got the title. What about all those SmackDown guys that are on SmackDown? What are they going to compete for? What are they going to compete for against each other?
Maybe for the number one contendership at a pay-per-view. You know what I mean? At the next pay-per-view. I don't know, but I think that'd be kind of stupid.
But how often can you do that? Every pay-per-view you're going to do a number one contendership match? There's no way. Both brands have to have a title, or SmackDown talent has to be allowed on Raw, and Raw talent has to be allowed on SmackDown. And in the arena now...
Our producer just said you're one bar, man. It's keeping up for you, bro.
It is. Actually, it's 0 bars right now. I took a peek when I was not smoking a cigarette. We have 0 bars, which probably means we got about 20 minutes to a half an hour left on this phone, which is going to take us right up to about the main event, my man.
So, well, that'll be if it lasts about 30 minutes. We'll be at 9:45. So
9:45. That would be perfect. Basically, we've got Wait 1 minute.
Our producer wants to know if you want to take a few calls, bro.
Yeah, that's fine. We can take phone calls. We've got Jack Swagger in the ring right now. There's a couch and a bunch of trophies. Apparently, Jack Swagger has his own talk show. It's called something VIP. Swagger's VIP. Oh, MVP. I don't see MVP on here, though.
Yep, I told you last week, man. How did Jack Swagger go from being a champion to jobbing for MVP?
Jack Swagger's got a guest tonight, and he's got his father out there. His father's out here in a wheelchair and has a neck brace on. So Jack Swagger's got his own... It says MVP's VIP Lounge. Jack Swagger has taken this over, and he's introduced his own guest, and it's Jack Swagger Sr., who's in a wheelchair with a neck brace.
Wow.
And wait a minute. Okay, Kane chokeslammed the father and Jack Swagger last month on SmackDown, which I must have missed, which means none of this shit makes any sense whatsoever to me. But apparently Kane chokeslammed the father and Jack Swagger last month on an episode of SmackDown. And we've got the father out here now recovering in a wheelchair and a neck brace.
Wow.
Do you know anything about this?
I have no clue.
Swagger tombstone Swagger's father at some point on SmackDown, and Swagger's father is now out of the hospital, and he's here in a wheelchair. So they aired highlights of this from last month. Swagger is basically saying to his father, I never thought you'd be able to walk again. I've never thought you were going to be able to see again. And he says, good to see you, Pop. Good to see you back. What? I think what's going to happen is Swagger's going to beat the fuck out of his father here in a second. I think that's where we're going with this. Basically, Swagger's out there, and basically, Swagger's out there. His father is in a wheelchair. He's praising the shit out of his father, saying, I knew you could do it. I knew you could come back. I knew you'd feel better. And this is likely leading to an angle where he beats the fuck out of his father. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Alright, so you want us to take a live phone call real fast or no?
Yeah, you can take a phone call, bro. This